Brendan Rodgers' Celtic got off to a mediocre start with their pre-season training as they took on Ayr United last night and they drew one each. But of course, you knew with that draw, you knew with any result, it didn't really matter if Ayr scudded them 7-0 or Celtic scudded Ayr 7-0. The talk of the day would be transfers. Celtic fans were waiting on Brendan Rodgers post-game to get stuck in to some transfer talk. And that's exactly what he's went and said. And essentially, to sum it up, we could have had 9 signings by now, is what Brendan Rodgers saying. But you want to get the correct players. You just don't sign players for the sake of it, is what he's saying. And what that tells me, folks, is that Brendan Rodgers is transitioning into a bit of a yes man. I think, his first spell, even like last summer, right? And at points last season, he was vocal towards the board. He kind of, revealed that he wasn't backed, etc., etc. I mean, you can say he wasn't backed, right? And obviously, Celtic could have backed Rodgers way more, but I mean, he did spend like near enough 10 million on 2 centre backs to barely play them. I get it. If they're not good enough, then boom. But I think to suggest that he wasn't like backed whatsoever. It's not like they made no signings. All right, they did sign a few players, but this is what Brendan Rodgers was talking about after the game with Ayr yesterday, of course, to take on Queen's Park soon. Could any new players be in by then? Who knows? But this is what he said regarding transfers. Yes, absolutely. We could have had 9 players in by now if we want it, but it's all about the right players that we want. There's no point in us doing anything other than that, and sometimes that takes a little bit of patience in the world nowadays where everything's immediate. Everyone thinks you can do it straight away, but it's not the case. There's always a collaboration between ourselves and another club to get the players that we want. But I'm very hopeful that come the end of the window, we'll have a really strong squad and be ready and prepared for an exciting season. End of quote. Now, there is a wee bit more to get into. We'll get into it, alright? We'll get into it in a wee bit, but right. But if you look at someone like Joe Hart, who has literally announced his retirement 6 months ago, what is the excuse for Celtic not to line up a replacement for him? They should have had a replacement lined up for Joe Hart months ago. There is no excuse for that. Rodgers can say there's loads of time to come, right? And you can almost, but it's like any position. You need to sign the right players, right? But it's not like Celtic in the past they've done this motto. I mean, the last couple of windows, as most Celtic fans would acknowledge, just really haven't been good enough. There's been the rare find, like Adam Adair with his crucial goals, but I talked about the 2 centre backs not doing anything. Like Telio, Alden Holm, Luis Palma, they've all been a bit lacklustre. I mean, Palma probably been the best out of the 5, but not he's been mediocre. The rest have been shit. And I think there's a big difference there. But Rodgers did go on to say there's lots of time. Of course, we want to get them in sooner rather than later, but it's always a two-way thing. Then he was talking about the pre-season trip to the United States, and he says that's the plan. I think every manager would like them in on the first day, but that's what's most important is the players that we want are targeted. We know what we want to bring in to improve the squad, and I'm sure over the coming weeks we'll conclude the deals. So the deals are going to be concluded. The deals are going to be concluded for Celtic. Kind of keeping his cards close to his chest. So we'll have to wait and see. There is a few goalies that they're linked with. And this is what he said about Joe Hart's replacement. He said it's certainly one of the areas that we need to improve. And we've known that since Joe said he was leaving. So yes, that again, a bit of time. We have to aim for that. Hopefully done by the beginning of the season for sure. There are loads of names flying around. So just a good one would be nice. So, I mean, again, Rodgers confirming, yeah, we knew we needed a goalie since Joe announced this. And he's now saying they hope they get a new goalie by the start of the season. I mean, the season gets underway in less than a month, right? I don't care about time and things like that. Celtic should be able to get a goalie signed by Monday. It's Saturday. Who are they waiting on? Who are they actually waiting on? I see they're linked with some Swiss goal. I think it's a Swiss international. Mogo or something. There's a lot of other clubs interested, like Parma, etc., etc. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, I'm sure there'll be a video on that if more concrete bids come to light. But You know, it seems like Celtic's only course of action is getting Adam Adea signed. Everyone else, you know, they've lost Rocco Fata. It seems to be more outgoings with Celtic, the talk, you know, Riley, etc., than actually incomings. But anyway, leave your thoughts down below. Till next time, peace.